The preseason is over. How did the first team offense look? And we are 27 hours away from final cuts. Let's go deep. Okay, Nate.
Go long. Go deep, Eric.
How far down can you hit me on the
As
fly?
far as you can run, I can throw.
So if you had to airmail it to me, are you 50
right now?
yards down the field?
I can throw 50, yeah, for sure.
I couldn't even come close to that.
Could you run 50 yards right now?
Yeah, I could run.
Could you sprint 50 yards?
I could sprint 50 yards. I'd probably pull a hamstring.
Yeah.
At my age.
There's like an under 40. Have you seen this on the internet? There's like an under 40 tackle football league that's getting some notoriety on the internet.
Yeah.
And dudes are just absolutely out of their minds and getting blown up. And obviously no insurance. They're going to sign waivers. Their lives are going to be ruined. They got to go to work the next morning.
Right.
But it's all for the love of the game, Eric.
Right.
You know, sometimes when I was playing in the NFL, people would be like, man, you're so lucky you get to do that for a living. I would do that for free. I would do that for free. No, you wouldn't. It's not fun getting your ass kicked. It's not fun getting smashed every day,
right.
Driving to work, knowing that you're going to have to run full speed into one of the most fearsome dudes on the planet.
But you love it.
I loved it.
Right.
But I probably wouldn't do it for free.
No?
No, not as an adult.
With all the pain that you have to deal with after your career's over,
yeah,
then it's really not worth it.
Right. But you know, I mean, you get
you know, it's like guys who'd say, I knew I had a concussion, and even if I knew what concussions would do to me, because the NFL hit it for years, right?
Yeah.
They'd say, I'd still do it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do it if you weren't paid.
Well, but there is some glory in, like, you know, the brotherhood, the camaraderie, the pain, the moment where you triumph together, you pull it out, you push, you dig deeper than you thought you had, and you come up with a big play. That lasts forever, Eric. The difference is it lasts forever in me, but no one else remembers it. It's always replaced by the next play. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, you have a nice play on the field. It's a beautiful moment, but life goes on, and then it's the next guy who gets that moment, whether it's this play, next game, next season. For all the guys we're celebrating right now, and I don't want to get too far down this road, but they'll be done at some point, and probably sooner than they thought. The average career is 2.8 years, Eric. So most of these guys are going to be gone within 3 and off in the real world trying to figure out what to do. But having these memories, these powerful memories of when they were Lions roaming the sideline.
Right. Hey, today's episode brought to you by Landmark Lincoln and the new Lincoln Navigator. Next level luxury. Go check them out. Talking about Landmark Lincoln. You can find them off of Broadway in Englewood, or check them out at landmarklincoln.com. So the preseason is over. Roster cuts about 27 hours away. Let's go back to the Saints game briefly.
Yeah.
There were some concerns going in. The first team offense didn't look very good against the 49ers. They didn't play in the second game against Arizona.
Right.
They did play against the Saints. The 3 series you saw overall, did they look better? Did they make progress? Do you feel more confident, a little bit more confident going into the regular season, even though they weren't game planning or anything like that?
I'd say no, not really, because they, to me, they haven't had very much time. But what you did see during the course of the New Orleans Saints game, 3 series, is they got better each series, right? And Bo Nix likes throwing to Cortland Sutton. We know that. Take that away, they didn't have much going on. And I think that's, you know, to be expected when you don't have much time to go do it. Everything in practice is scripted. You're collaborating on what you want, the looks you want. Then you throw them in a game, it looks different. The defense is playing at a different pace. They're not playing your game. They don't care about what you're trying to accomplish that day. They're trying to stuff the ball.
When Nix threw a terrible pass to Sutton to start, were you thinking, uh-oh?
Which one are you talking about?
The first one.
The first pass?
He was over the middle.
Yeah.
Sutton was wide open, and he just badly misfired. At any point did you think, oh no?
Well, that was
because I did a little bit.
That was a miscommunication on that play. It's a shallow cross. When you're a receiver running across in a shallow cross, you have a man zone read. If it's zone, you're supposed to sit down over the opposite tackle. If it's man, you're supposed to keep running. Sometimes there's a little bit of consternation as to what you should do when you have that much green grass in front of you. Bo Nix was also pressured from the right side on that one. He thought Cortland was going to keep going. Cortland sat, and so that was a miscommunication. That's not like, oh, that's a horrible throw. No, he thought he was going to keep running. Cortland sat down, tried to throttle, give him a throw. Bo's getting pressure. These are things that happen during the course of the game.
It's funny because when a quarterback throws an interception, why did he throw that pick? To your point, as a wide receiver, tight end, maybe the wide receiver, tight end ran a wrong route.
Yeah, it's not so simple as, come on, Bo.
And it's the same thing with a quarterback getting sacked. Oh, the offensive line is terrible. It might have been the quarterback. We saw what happened with Shedeur Sanders in his last game.
Yeah.
And it might be his last game for a while.
No, but he's set up to fail.
We'll talk more about that for sure. How did Nix look overall to you?
A little shaky, a little just this is not a real game. This is a game. So it's not practice anymore. And it takes some time. Look, the Broncos offense, they went 10-7 last year. They weren't a fast starting offense last year. Oftentimes they took the first quarter to figure things out. And in the second half, really, turned it on. That looked like the same Broncos offense that we saw last year that struggled at times. Bo had a delay of game in the first half or in the first quarter. That was just a total lack of awareness. He wasn't even looking at the clock. Why? Because this is the first time you're doing this on the field with a play. Oh, now they're doing this and I'm trying to change it. He doesn't have that in his mind. It just shows you the different compartments that a quarterback must master to be doing it on game day. That's one of those compartments that he just let slip in that moment. That's been a problem for the last several years here, the delay of game thing, not just with Bo, with Russell, not just with Peyton, with Hackett.
Right.
You have long wordy plays. You have pre-snap movement. Then you have then he shifts. Now you want to change it up. Right. Boom. The play, the clock is up. So these are things that you want to get out of your system in preseason, which is why maybe they should have played in that second preseason game.
Yeah.
Generally
speaking, I think most of us could do our job well when everything is going right. This show is not on a teleprompter, but let's say it was on a teleprompter. If the teleprompter person makes a mistake, you might make a mistake. But are you
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
But are you good enough? Are you good enough to overcome that mistake?
Yeah.
Delay a game and the pass to Sutton, we've already addressed. To me, Bo Nix did things that a lot of other quarterbacks can't do in that game. I can give you 3 or 4 examples
Would love it.
in which he did things that you're like, okay, they weren't necessarily special plays, but they were really good plays. Let's start with the missed block by RJ Harvey, where he should have at very least chipped the guy rushing. This guy just came unannounced right at Nix. At the very least, Nix picked up 2 yards throwing it to Troutman.
Yeah.
He could have run out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. He could have thrown an incomplete pass. He got a positive play out of that. Not a lot of quarterbacks, many could, but not a lot of quarterbacks can make that particular play. Let's look at the play where it looked like he got buried underneath the defensive line. And like a gopher, he came out of the hole, climbed up in the pocket, threw the ball to Badie, and it was a 17-yard gain.
Yeah.
That's another play that to me is special. That 4th and 5, he threw a great back shoulder pass to Courtland Sutton.
Yeah.
But I think the play that might have been one of the most impressive was the touchdown to Courtland Sutton. People will say, and rightfully so, just by looking at it as is, he didn't lead Courtland Sutton. What Bo Nix did.
Who said that?
No, you just look at where the pass lands.
Well,
I'm saying for a layman, and I am a layman compared to you, and I'm not suggesting this is the case.
Right.
You want to lead your wide receiver. You don't want to throw behind him.
You just talked about a back shoulder throw.
Okay. But when he threw it basically at the goal line,
I hear what you're saying.
Is my point.
I hear what you're saying.
He had a blitz in his face.
Yeah.
And he had enough presence of mind to not scramble backwards. He had enough presence of mind to throw the ball basically where Courtland could get it, and he connected. Not a lot of quarterbacks can make that throw. I'll give you a throw that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady could not make on their best days.
Ooh.
And that is something that Nix worked with Tom House. And that was getting the flexibility to throw against your body. He is rolling left, and he throws it with his right hand, throwing against your body, correct? That's what it is, right?
Yeah, most quarterbacks can do that. I mean, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning are not mobile quarterbacks.
But that's what I mean. Those quarterbacks didn't have the mobility to do that.
Right.
Not all quarterbacks can do that.
Well, mobile quarterbacks can throw running both ways. I'm not taking anything away from Bo. I do want to talk about that touchdown you were talking about.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
Well, a lot of times the young quarterbacks, they'll see a blitz, right? And they'll try to turn away and throw somewhere else because the blitz is overwhelming them.
Right.
Because it's a presence that's frightening, Eric, because he's coming to hurt you. Now, the seasoned quarterbacks understand that presence that's coming at you means there's a void behind him.
Right.
So if you stand in that presence and throw it over him, that's the open area on the field that they're vacating. And that's exactly where he threw it to Courtland Sutton. He threw it to the vacated area. A safety was trying to help over the top on Courtland, and he put it, like you said, a little behind him, but he allowed Courtland to use his big body to seal him off, and he didn't lead him into trouble in the middle of the field. What he did was allow Courtland to slow down, use his catch radius, use his arms and his body, block out the safety behind him, and secure the catch. I think it was an excellent throw.
Yes.
And it was an excellent catch.
I agree.
And it was excellent recognition of the blitz and where the threat really is.
He threw a touchdown pass on a guy who was completely unchecked on a blitz. That's what he did. And that's the layman term behind it. Where he threw it where only Courtland could really get it.
Yeah.
But if you don't know anything about football, you'd say, how come he didn't lead him a little bit more? Maybe the pass wasn't perfect. Considering the circumstances, it was a great pass.
But here's the thing about Courtland. You take away Courtland Sutton, who's Bo going to throw the football to?
Devaughn Vele?
Right.
So are you
not just another guy?
Are you one of those guys that watched the game and sat back with your popcorn and said, Vele would have made that catch?
No.
And Vele would have made that. They made a big mistake.
No.
He would have made that catch.
No, but you were probably one of those guys thinking, oh, shit, I shouldn't have advocated so much for trading Vele.
I would have traded Vele under any circumstances.
Any circumstances.
For a fourth-round pick, yes.
Okay.
For a fourth-round pick,
Bird
yes.
in the hand. Bird in the hand. Dew in the bush.
The Broncos have proven under Sean Payton and George Payton, they're not good. They're not good at drafting. They're great at drafting.
Okay, cool. So they have to find out who else is going to catch the ball. Okay?
I agree.
Because Evan Ingram off his hands, right? Marvin Mims, not really active there. Pat Bryant, those guys, Troy Franklin had a couple catches for a couple yards.
Yep.
But it's not just about those guys catching the ball in the vacuum and making something happen. Why do pass plays open up? Why do play action open up? Because your running game works, right? Because there's the threat of pounding the rock, and the Broncos did not elucidate that threat.
Elucidate
in the game. Sometimes I'm struggling for a word.
What was your score on your SAT on the verbal? Mine, not to brag, was 440 out of a possible 400. So it was really low.
Okay.
What was yours, Mr. Menlo?
My SAT was a 1260. I got it.
You know, mine was, no joke.
What?
860.
Yeah, no, I can tell.
I would have been Prop 48. I would have been.
And look at you now, man.
I'm sitting next to you.
No,
which clearly my career has been a complete and unmitigated
exactly.
disaster. It's not where you start.
You're probably wondering how I ended up here, right?
It's not where you start. It's where you finish. And right now, I'm in the shithole with you.
Yeah, but we're not going to finish here. Okay, we're going to get out of the shithole. But I will say that this Broncos offense talked a lot about improving the running game in the offseason.
Yeah.
Drafted RJ Harvey, signed JK Dobbins, tried to learn from the memories and the lessons of getting beat up in Buffalo when it mattered, and that was beat up on the ground, controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides. They need to change that. And the looks of it is they have not addressed it yet. And to me, you know, you were asking me about this offensive line. I don't think it's an offensive line problem. I think that it's a mentality that you have to approach every day of practice with, that you're going to establish line of scrimmage and be a run-first team. And I wonder if Sean Payton if that's the message he gives. Probably not, because that's not who he is. Mike Shanahan, that's who he was. And so every team we played against knew that we were establishing the line of scrimmage. We're going to run the rock.
Right.
And when you think that as a defense, you're ready for that. Guess what opens up?
Yeah.
Everything behind it. Right. And so I think the Broncos, for these receivers to really get off and for these tight ends to really get off, they need the running game to get off first.
Right. And I hate it when, not hate it, but when guys like me and you make a statement or a prediction and we're wrong, we tend to ignore it. But yeah, we tend to toot our own horn when we're right. I said to you about 2 weeks ago, JK Dobbins will not be the first one on the field. It'll be RJ Harvey. It will be JK Dobbins.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt it should be JK Dobbins. You can make the case Tyler Badie should be second off the bench, not because he is better than RJ Harvey in terms of running and vision and all that. It's because he's a better blocker. And that one big whiff.
Well, I wouldn't say one play is the reason to get him off the field.
No, I'm not.
You learn from those moments. You want that to happen in the preseason.
He is a rookie.
Yeah.
He is not ready for it yet, and he wasn't asked to do a lot of that in college. It is a learned skill. It needs to be a skill that you are willing to do as well. So with that, you'll appreciate this as much as anyone. I think Badie probably was going to make the team before the game against the New Orleans Saints, but you always made the team because you were a good wide receiver or a tight end, but you made it because of special teams.
Oh, yeah.
Because not only are you a good player, you played it willingly and you played it at a really high level.
Yeah.
The minute Badie ran back that kickoff, check, he's on the team.
You know, I mean, Marvin Mims is your returner, so Badie's a backup. I know it feels good to have that, but Marvin Mims is a back-to-back All-Pro returner.
Got it.
He's going to the Pro Bowl for that. So
injuries happen, but now you have
true.
a guy.
That's true. But RJ Harvey looked a little bit off to me running the ball. He just didn't look like he was hitting those holes. And I know there wasn't
3
much
carries for 4 yards.
Well, it wasn't just that. Like, I'm looking at the play and I'm watching him block it up. It wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
But there's some creases there. And if you're hoping it opens up
right,
like the Red Sea,
right,
it's not going to happen. You gotta jam yourself up in there, Eric.
Yep.
You gotta go deep.
Yep.
You gotta go deep.
Like we are.
Yeah, and you got a knife in there. And to me, RJ was kind of waiting, dancing a little bit through those holes instead of just putting his body in there. And I think that's something that they got to coach up. And that's why I think JK Dobbins is going to be your starting back.
Heading into roster cuts, I think Estime is going to be an odd man out despite having a really good game. I do believe somebody will pick him up.
Is that your estimation?
As a matter of fact, it is. Oh, cool. Now, my estimation, as I've been told by numerous people close to the situation, they've been trying to trade Estime for the last couple of weeks. Oh. They've been trying to trade Damari Mathis for the last couple of weeks, just like they traded Devaughn Vele and obviously got a nice return from whether you agree with your trade or not.
Yeah.
They got an unbelievable return for this guy. But let's get to Lucas Krull for a second.
Oh, yeah.
They did draft a tight end in Loener.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, it's not a good look if you cut a draft pick, unless your name is Shilo Sanders and you throw a punch.
Hey!
But I digress. You don't want to cut any of your draft picks. But Lucas Krull.
Shilo got drafted?
He did not get drafted. He was undrafted.
So he wasn't drafted.
Wasn't drafted. My bad.
Just a shot. You just want to take a shot at Shilo, huh?
Here comes the cult. I'm a racist. I know. I'm a member of the Klan. With that, Lucas Krull, this guy should make this roster. And if you get rid of Loener, meaning you waive him, no one is picking him up.
No.
Keep Krull, right?
Yeah, I think so. You stand next to Lucas Krull. He's a prototypical tight end. He almost has like Gronk size body. Right?
Yeah.
And he can probably run a little faster than Gronk. For whatever reason, Lucas Krull just hasn't gotten into the groove since he's been here. I mean, he's had some flashes. He had some moments. He had a really good mini camp a couple of years ago, but he just hasn't been able to get in the pocket, of what he's trying to do. Because there's so many, I talk about how tight end is the hardest position in sports. There's so many things to master there.
Right.
He's also doing special teams too.
Right.
He's learning all these new techniques. He's trying to get it all together. I think Lucas Krull has the potential to be a very productive NFL tight end. And Evan Ingram is a sort of a one-trick kind of pony when it comes to his offensive skill set. So you do need another guy other than Adam Troutman, who's a prototypical tight end body who can go in and do all the things. He can pass protect, he can run block, and he can catch passes. Lucas Krull has the body for that.
Yeah.
He has to learn the technique for that.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. And that can take some time. I think they value his upside, his potential. I hope he sticks around.
Despite the fact that I'm Jewish, I feel like I'm in confession with you. I've just confessed that I was wrong about JK Dobbins not being the day one starter. Now, here is my second confession.
Okay.
I may have been way off on Jeremy Crawshaw, the punter, because watching this guy in practice at times has been wow moments, but in games, it's been oh my.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, does Sean Payton look at the waiver wire and say, at the very least, we need to bring in some competition?
That's a good question because punting is very important. People don't think so because it's
harder than tight end.
Right. The punting game is really important because it flips the field and field position ends up being one of the
factors. You play with Sauerbrunn?
I did.
One of my favorite lines in 35 years in this business was Mike Shanahan saying, why does a punter need to be on steroids?
Well, to kick it as far as he did. Right. You know what his nickname was? Boom.
Yeah.
Because when he kicked it, boom, that's all you heard.
Right.
Right. So the punter is really important to the team. having a consistent punter, a punter that can not just boom it,
right,
kick it far,
right,
but can position it, can let guys run under it, knows when it's, when you say it's a punt right, he goes
right.
right. When you say it's a punt left, he goes left. You'd be surprised how many times as a punt team you hear in the huddle, punt right or deep right, and then you hear the boom and you start running right, but it goes left. And then it puts everyone out of position.
Right.
To me, if a guy is nails at practice and he sucks in the games, that's something else going on with him. It's the jitters. It's his approach to it. He's nervous. You got to get with him and get him to calm down. He's the only punter drafted in this draft.
Right.
And he's an Aussie. So he's ready to put the ball up in the sky.
Say bloomin' onion for me.
Bloomin' onion.
And
all right. Straight away.
And where'd he get it at?
Outback Steakhouse. Put another shrimp on the barbie, Eric. But it's Australian's hard. Australian accent, British. They kind of bleed into one.
How do I segue out of this?
You don't. I'll tell you. I don't think they're going to bring in competition. I think they're going to let him, start off the season.
Right.
If it's abysmal, then they'll find a way. But, that would look pretty stupid if they drafted a guy, a punter, the only team to draft a punter, and then cut him before the season started. I think they'll give him a chance.
Once again, want to let you know that this show is brought to you by Landmark Lincoln and the brand new 2025 Lincoln Navigator. Go check out Landmark Lincoln in Inglewood off of Broadway. The ratings are outstanding, 4.9 stars with over 560 verified reviews, and their customers love them. That's why you should love them. Go for a test drive today. You'll feel the power and the luxury of this Lincoln Navigator. Just looking at the pictures right now, this really looks like a fun ride. Go for a test drive today. Once again, Landmark Lincoln. You can find them off of Broadway in Inglewood or go to landmarklincoln.com. Okay, let's get into the Sanders boys.
Ooh.
Shedeur and Shilo. We'll begin it with Shilo briefly, and the rest of the time will be spent on Shedeur. Shilo had some challenges when he played at Colorado for getting in trouble, for lack of a better phrase. When there was stuff on the field, it seemed that he was in the middle of it. There were reports that he punched some teammates.
At CU?
At CU, reports.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's true.
Okay.
Reports that I read, multiple reports. But, dude, what are you thinking? I understand this Bills tight end was all over you, but you have to show some self-control. In hockey, we call it a feel-good penalty. A guy hits you, the referee doesn't see it, you are all bent out of shape, and you want to land a haymaker, and you graze the guy, and you are the guy going to the box. When you are undrafted and you have a history of making some boneheaded decisions, dude, I don't know if this guy's going to get picked up by anybody, which is unfortunate. He's not a great player, but from all accounts that I read, he was playing okay. He was holding his own. But once you do something like that, and then there's a history of it to boot with Colorado, any head coach will say, if I have this guy on the field in a leverage situation, when is that flag coming on the field?
Yeah, you take away the Sanders aspect of it. This guy's an undrafted player who's trying to make the team. And there's 90 guys and it's down to 53. The odds are already stacked against you as an undrafted player. And so because of that, you can't make any mistakes.
Right.
You cannot be late to meetings. You can't forget your plays, and stupid penalties in the game will cost you. Mike Shanahan this was such an area of emphasis for us, not losing your cool.
Right.
That if we saw coaching staff, I'm Mike Shanahan here. If we see on tape you getting cheap shotted and not retaliating, we're going to pay you money. If they cheap shot you, you don't retaliate, and they get a flag, we'll give you more. There was an incentive to keep your fucking cool.
Right.
All right. And for guys who can't keep their cool,
right,
when it matters, coaches don't want you on the field unless you're like George Pickens or some crazy talent. And even he got shipped out of Pittsburgh, right? Because he couldn't keep his cool, and you can't count on him. Now he's in Dallas, where people like that thrive, right? So ultimately, Shilo shot himself in the foot there. Aside from his lineage and his inability to keep it cool when it mattered, a tight end gets his hand on you, a big tight end, and he's an undersized safety. It's going to be frustrating, but you know what? Your coach isn't going to be mad that you got manhandled or blocked. He's going to be mad that you retaliated.
Now let's get into Shedeur.
Yeah.
To say his game on Saturday was awful is insulting all games that are awful.
Oh, Wow.
He took 5 sacks and completed 3 passes. Now, if you want to flip those numbers around and give him 5 completions with 3 sacks, those numbers are awful as well. And I'm going to look directly in the camera to say this to all of you apologists out there. Kevin Stefanski is not out to get Shedeur Sanders. He is not setting him up to fail. And don't give me this bullshit that he is playing behind a third-string offensive line. Yes, technically you're right. He is also playing against a third-string defensive line and third-string cornerbacks who are going to be looking for work after 2 o'clock tomorrow, and guys who are not going to be playing in the league. Let's stop with the excuses. But the thing that bothered me the most about all of his sycophants, and that's what they are. And here's the thing about Shedeur. He has done nothing really to fuel all of this. His supporters who look at him as a guy who can't make any mistakes, it's always somebody else's fault. I don't know how he can shut them up, but he needs to somehow, because they sound like idiots when they come out and say, how in the world can Stefanski pull Shedeur Sanders from the game when he had a chance to go on the 2-minute offense? Give the guy a chance. First of all, Shedeur didn't earn that chance. His body language from the minute he walked on that field was absolute shite. He looked like he didn't even want to be there.
Is that right?
He looked like he did not want to be there
Why
at all.
do you think that would be? Why would he not want to be there in the biggest moment to prove
I didn't
himself?
say he didn't. I said he looked that way.
Okay.
He looked down in the mouth. He didn't look energized for a guy who was getting
Maybe he was nervous.
an opportunity, and he might have very well been nervous. My point is,
because it is a nerve-wracking thing to get out, to get put in a game in those moments and be carrying the weight of it's all coming down to this for
right.
me. Yeah.
But I'm sorry, Shedeur Sanders did not deserve that final drive.
Why?
He was sacked 5 times. He completed 3 passes. He did nothing to earn it. Now, to keep him on the field, yeah.
Well, maybe you want to see him in that situation.
Fine. And he's probably going to, hold on. He's probably going to make the roster anyway. And I get it. But you know this, and I'll ask you. Maybe I shouldn't say you know this. Do you think when you played for Mike, he might have given a couple of guys who he knew he wasn't going to keep a little extra playing time late in a final preseason game just so they can have some tape?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what Kevin Stefanski did for Tyler Huntley, who, by the way, was released yesterday.
Right.
It's not all about Shedeur and can he run a 2-minute offense. And oh, by the way, had he been brilliant in that 2-minute offense, this is my narrative today, had that been the case. Bravo, you're Tim Tebow. Shit in the opening 58, and boy, you nailed it in the final 2.
Wow. So
that's what Tim Tebow was.
No,
he was awful to watch. And I don't know if Shedeur would have pulled it out. And at Colorado, he did it more than a few times. He also had the help of Travis Hunter, but Shedeur did make plays. Kevin Stefanski is not out to get Shedeur Sanders. Let's drop the narrative here.
I think it's it's an online narrative, Eric, and it's something that's on Twitter and these social media platforms.
Shedeur is not the circus. The circus is the chorus of supporters that he has that are in the cult or Dion's friends who are in the media.
And that happened, and that started when they all came to see you, right? It started the circus. It was here, and it's not Shedeur's fault. It's Coach Prime's fault for making everything a performance. And Shedeur has had to back that up his whole life, right? He's had to execute what has come out of his dad's mouth as a coach, and he as the player, and he did to an extent. But then he gets to the NFL where everybody is the best in the world, right? And now you're in a pocket and the clock is ticking. You got to get rid of the ball, Shedeur. There's timing to all these routes. They're not putting him back there for 7-step drops. Get the ball, get it out of your hands. His instincts in the pocket are not NFL ready, and that's just the bottom line. Will they be developed into that being so? Maybe, because he had that one good preseason game. But the whole hysteria around Shedeur creates these wild swings of emotion, whether it's a good game or a bad game. And if it's a good game, everyone's coming at you,
right,
or anyone who doubts him,
right,
and saying, "What now, Whitey?" or whatever it is,
Whitey, right,
or
cracker,
or when it
can I call you
a bad game, but then when it's a bad game, everyone who got attacked when it was a good game comes back and says, Well, look at how's your boy doing now?
Right.
So everyone's involved in this. It's not just his supporters. It's the people who hate his supporters and want to tell them to shut up.
And I think that's what it is. I don't dislike Shedeur Sanders. I don't like some of the shenanigans of flashing up the watch and stuff like that. I am an old school guy. If you want to say I'm the old guy that yells at clouds, fine. I am guilty as charged. But I was watching ESPN this morning with Dan Orlovsky, and he broke down about 3 to 5 plays on where Shedeur's processor was not firing. The synapses were not firing. There were a number of occasions in which he took sacks in which he had guys wide open over the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of them, which was well diagrammed, he had a guy in a lane. He could see the guy through a lane of blockers.
Yep.
And he didn't throw it, and instead ran 23 yards backwards the other way. For as good as he was in his first game, 14 of 23, not great completion percentage, but he had 2 touchdowns. First game, good for him. But this game, if you want to say that was a great game for Shedeur, you have a right to say that. I'm not saying it was great. I think it was more than pretty good, very good for a guy going out there for the first time. But you have to be as equally, you don't have to be, I suppose, at least be fair about it and say, I'm sorry, with the way he played, he did not deserve to run that 2-minute offense. It was almost like Stefanski did him a favor by pulling him off the field to protect him from himself. That's how bad he was.
Well, yeah, I think there's a point to be made there. The style of play that he was implementing there was going to get him hurt because he's running around backwards and he's
running from bees is what he was doing.
And he's going to get tackled by 3 guys and it's going to get folded up and maybe blow out a knee or something like that. You got to step up in the pocket. You have to buy time in the pocket, slide it in the pocket, and there were pockets there for him. Instead, he bailed out backwards. That works in Tecmo Bowl back in the 80s and 90s. Did you ever play Tecmo Bowl on Nintendo? You didn't.
I did not.
You were too old for that. You're too old for Nintendo, which means you're really old.
I played Pong. But I will tell you, okay, smart ass, I did get all the way through Mario Brothers and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Good for you, but I bet you don't remember the code to fight Mike Tyson. No, you didn't. You're lying about Mike Tyson.
I can't tell you what I had for lunch yesterday, more or less the code.
007-373-5963 is the code that you punch in to fight Mike Tyson.
You whooped Glass Joe's ass, didn't you?
So many times that I'm trying to fight Mike Tyson. I'm trying to fight the best. So I'm not trying to fight 15 guys to get the mic. Once you're good enough, Eric, you enter the code, you fight Mike Tyson. That's how you play the game.
Right.
You never got to that level, and so I can't expect you to know that code, Eric.
Right.
But I digress.
I was in college. That was 35 years ago.
I was 9 or whatever.
That was 35 years ago.
Okay, so Shedeur's skill set needs some improvement. So the question is
processor needs it. He's accurate. He's a processor. He doesn't read defenses fast enough.
But here's the deal. If it's a quick pass, you don't really need to read that much. Just throw it. Get it out of your hands. Pick a side and throw it. And that's what they're going to tell him. You don't have to be Tom Brady every time you step to the line of scrimmage. Not every successful quarterback has a freaking processor thing that is going to go into a museum. A lot of quarterbacks instinctually just know how to get the ball out of their hands and do it fast. You're going to get hit sometimes.
Yep.
And that's what was going to happen to that pocket. But there's a way to get you out of your hand, complete the ball, get hit.
What we saw in that game on Saturday was what we used to see when he was at Colorado, taking a lot of sacks he shouldn't be taking. Let's not go. The offensive line was bad. I agree with Sean Payton. The line is responsible for some, and the quarterback is responsible for some. On that 23-yard pass, he had a wide open lane through blockers, and a guy was wide open crossing the middle. All he has to do is throw that ball. He didn't for whatever reason, and then he got sacked. That sack, I'm sorry, is on him. Now, as a guy who played with a lot of injuries, as you have said to me, which is quite the illustration, my groin was ripped off the bone. Is that how you refer to it as?
It was, yeah.
Right. So you have suffered a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
I don't know how painful an oblique injury is. Okay?
It's because you don't have obliques. You just have a little area over there that just jiggles when you touch it.
Are we done?
Yes.
Okay. Let me finish my point here. Anyway, Shedeur Sanders had an unbelievable opportunity to practice against the Philadelphia Eagles going into the second preseason game and to play against them in the preseason. He had an oblique injury. I will never question a guy on how much pain he is in. Everybody has a different pain threshold, and Shedeur Sanders certainly showed the toughness to take all those sacks he did at Colorado.
Yeah.
But he had an opportunity as a 5th-round pick, 4th on the depth chart, with a Jara Toradol to shoot up to get on the field. That was a blown opportunity. And I am wondering, did he not take that Toradol shot? Did he not take that opportunity because he felt, you know what? I was pretty good in the opening game. I threw a couple of touchdown passes. I looked good enough. I'm going to make this team, so I don't need to play against the Eagles. I sure as hell don't need to play hurt, where maybe my play won't be as good.
This was a calculated move probably by him, but a miscalculation. And Shedeur's had a lot of miscalculations when it comes to his professional trajectory. He believed he was going to be the first quarterback off the board. And so allegedly or reportedly, he was a little flippant and unprofessional in some of these meetings because he's like, maybe I'm not the right quarterback for you. You don't have to draft me. Someone else is going to. He believed his draft stock was a little higher.
Right.
That may or may not have contributed to his slide.
Yep.
And maybe he believed that after that performance in that preseason game, that was going to be enough for him. Preseason games, we've seen a lot of preseason performances that are impressive that you never hear from the guy again. So coaches need to see more from you from that. They want to see how you follow up a good performance. And so he did have an opportunity there. We don't know how severe the oblique was. I've had an oblique injury, was very painful, no doubt about it, because you're twisting and turning, you're doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
It happened to me on a Friday at a Friday practice, and all of a sudden I was like, ow, what the hell is that?
Right.
By Sunday, I almost didn't play in the game, but I did play in the game because
we shot up.
Yeah. I mean, not in the side. I mean, I had the Toradol in the butt the night before, like every night. It was not new for me to do that. I wasn't going to take opioids before a game because I wanted my mind to be clear.
Right.
So I was not doing that. But for a rookie, he might not be comfortable with those needles because it doesn't happen right away where you're just like, yeah, give me the needle. It takes a couple years in the NFL, and then your body starts to, deteriorate, and then you see the veterans lining up for the shot. Can I finish? Lining up for the shot the night before the game. You're like, I want what they got because I'm having problems. When you're a rookie in your first camp, you don't know about those lines. You don't know about those things that are available to you, and maybe he was just a little skittish when it came to that. Maybe they offered it to him, and he wasn't comfortable with the needle.
If you were a 5th-round draft pick, 4th on the depth chart, and you played quarterback, Nate Jackson, would you have taken that Toradol shot?
I mean, I would have done what it took to play.
So would you have taken the Toradol shot?
Sure.
There we go.
And or I would have tried to go. Right. And then, if I can't go in warm-ups, then I'm not going to go. Right. But I'm going to get my ass out there and try to warm up. And that's what I did that game on that Sunday, 2 days after I'd heard it. I didn't know if I was going to go. They're like, are you going to go? Are you going to go? I'm like, I'm going to try because the numbers matter. And if I had not, then they got to bring somebody else up, and all the special teams units, they got to switch them around and this and that. So I knew that the pressure was on me to play. And so I made sure I did. It was a painful ass game, but you know what? I made it through it, and I earned the respect of those who knew I was dealing with that.
As we sit here at 11:38 in the morning on a Monday, Shedeur Sanders is still on the team. I think he will make the Browns. Why? I don't know if they take 3 quarterbacks or 4 quarterbacks. I believe he will make the roster. For the sake of
why would they keep 4 quarterbacks on an active roster?
Because they're the Cleveland Browns.
But they do that to appease this circus. They got to cut ties with Shedeur. He's got to go off on his own and go somewhere else. I don't think Cleveland's the best place for him. It's already toxic there. There's this weird thing with Dylan Gabriel. They clearly like Dylan a little more. He played a little better. He stepped up in the pocket a little more. I think Dylan, they like him a little bit. They got Kenny Pickett. They got Joe Flacco. Maybe put Shedeur on the practice squad. But why would you keep 4 active quarterbacks in a league that's so precise when it comes to roster creation and the numbers of each position that you have? 2 quarterbacks are typically on a 53-man.
Would you be worried if another team picked them up?
Worried how?
If you're the Browns, that you waive them and somebody picks them up.
I think that's a possibility.
But he has to go on the 53.
Yeah.
Do you think the team's going to put him on the 53?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I guess you have 2 rookie quarterbacks and Joe Flacco. That's your plan.
Here's the thing about the situation that Shedeur is in right now, you can make the case, in a very strong case, the Browns have a top 5 room that is the worst in the league for quarterbacks. Maybe New Orleans is worse. Cleveland's awful. And he should go someplace else. This is his best chance to win a job.
I hear that.
And by the way, to me, this is how, and people can say I'm out of my tree when I say this. If there's a team right now that is desperate for a backup quarterback, it is the Las Vegas Raiders. They just lost Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah.
Okay.
6 to 8 weeks.
So they've got a 6th round draft pick as the number 2 as of right now. Tom Brady is close with the Sanders family. Tom Brady has talked to, mentored, helped Shedeur. Don't you think that if Tom Brady thought that Shedeur Sanders could really play, he'd walk up to Davis, the owner, and say, trade a 7th round pick for him. We'll get him. You think Tom Brady would do that?
He probably would have said that already.
And what does it say if Tom Brady doesn't? Because a lot of teams haven't had a lot of quarterback injuries. The Raiders do. You have the Tom Brady connection. Why not trade a 7th rounder? And oh, by the way, I put that out on, I think it was on X or Instagram. Somebody came back to me and said, I'm like, what is wrong with you? Somebody said to me, goes,
wait, somebody came back on you?
Came back to me when I said.
That's what I'm saying. And you were surprised at the vitriol or the stupidity of someone online, Eric?
It was the stupidity of, why would you only ask for a 7th? He's a 5th. You should get a 5th. It doesn't work that way. Just like you get more than a 7th for Devaughn Vele because he has proven it. He is worth a 4th round pick to at least the New Orleans Saints. If Tom Brady isn't willing to kick the tires on Shedeur Sanders when they desperately need a backup quarterback.
But that's not who they need as a backup. They need a veteran quarterback as a backup. You don't want a rookie with this much baggage as your backup. That's not what they want.
What kind of baggage?
Haven't we just been talking about it?
No,
the circus. The circus. That's why he slid so much in the draft, Eric.
Head coaches don't like celebrity quarterbacks. And they really despise backup celebrity quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would pick him up. I think he'd be done.
Well, that might be the case.
I hope he's not. I hope that he works his tail off to become better. And I hope he can find a way to quiet his minions of sycophants. Just stop talking. Let him do his work. They will never be
quiet.
I know.
All it takes is one nice throw from him or one nice game, and it's back on it. And that'll never end as long as the internet is such a big part of our lives, Eric.
Right. That's going to do it for us. You want to do this again on Thursday at 11?
Yeah, sure, man. Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. See you Thursday at 11 a.m.
Later.